Palisades are burning bright, Oregon trucks nowhere inside, budget cuts, hydrants dry, no water in supply.
All my fellow citizens, they lost their homes, they have no recourse, no insurance payout because the carriers dropped them. Right. Even the carriers realized that California was ill-prepared and had scant resources to deal with the inevitable fires. They knew that. So are we supposed to believe that our elected officials didn't know that? Of course they knew that. Of course, Mayor Bass tweeted about the levels of danger days before she blew out of town.
Climate change is a good thing to blame because that way no one actually gets in trouble for the sheer magnitude of incompetence.
I think I came to realize that it was monumental mismanagement by our elected officials, and that's the nicest thing you can say about it.
Yeah, I've been listening to your governor, Gavin Newsom, and he's promising LA 2.0, a reimagined Los Angeles. He even says he has a Marshall Plan.
Governor Newsom, wildfires have destroyed millions of acres of the state, displaced countless amounts of family. Do you take responsibility for any of this, and is there anything more you think you could have done?
Not really. I think these fires were very devastating. I think the full scope of what actually has happened, we're not there yet. Okay, these people's houses are just destroyed. People are suffering, people are sad, but we're Californians. We're gonna push through, and where we're going, the vision is 10 times bigger than anybody else can even imagine.
And reservoirs, the reservoirs are completely full. The state reservoirs here in Southern California, that mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Mel Gibson blast Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is what we like to call him around here, at a press conference in the fire-ravaged Altadena, standing with victims of the devastation. Is Mel Gibson running for governor?
Lost their homes, they have no recourse, no insurance payout because the carriers dropped them. Right. Even the carriers realized that California was ill-prepared and had scant resources to deal with the inevitable fires. They knew that. So are we supposed to believe that our elected officials didn't know that? Of course they knew that. Of course, Mayor Bass tweeted about the levels of danger days before she blew out of town. You know? Ugh. And we drove around in the PCH and into my neighborhood and various other neighborhoods, devastating. There was, I saw my houses and my friends and neighbors reduced to toxic piles of smoldering rubble, much like here in Altadena. I mean, one of the most pathetic and despicable things I've seen was when Karen Bass, in order to shift the blame and culpability from herself, wiped it on the fire chief and threw her under the bus for speaking the truth about how the department had been defunded and were without resources.
Shout out to Mel Gibson for showing up for the folks in Altadena. This is huge because Governor Gavin Newsom is too busy launching his own podcast when he should actually be caring about the people. Karen Bass is who knows where, continuing to dodge questions. Here's Gavin Newsom launching his new podcast.
We need to change the conversation. And that's why I'm launching a new podcast. And this is going to be anything but the ordinary politician podcast. I'm going to be talking to people directly that I disagree with, as well as people I look up to.
How about you take care of the people in your freaking state, bro? I'm going to be talking to all the people. I need more hair gel. Blah, 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 blah. Here is a parody of this, by the way. I want to share this with you. Absolutely hilarious.
You asked America, and I listened, so welcome to the Gavin Newsom podcast. I know no one actually asked for this, and they'd prefer I do my actual job instead of whatever the hell this is, but everyone knows I march to the beat of my own drum, which is why when I locked everyone down during COVID, I still went to fancy restaurants that you poor losers couldn't even afford to work at, let alone eat at. I appreciate the poor optics of another podcast hosted by a straight white male, but the world needs this now more than ever. And from what I've read online, most people don't consider me straight or a man anyhow. Have I made mistakes as governor? Not really. Actually, no. I have never made a mistake ever. I guess banging my campaign manager's wife could be viewed as a mistake, except hypergamy is a very common lifestyle in California. Some people like to say I was asleep at the wheel, which made the LA fire substantially more devastating. But again, I haven't made any mistakes. Also, aren't you amazed how little I'm using my hands while I talk? My aides told me the way I talk makes me look like a complete psychopath. So I'm doing my best to talk like a normal person right now. Plus, I'm not a psychopath, just a sociopath. Those are two very different things. Oops, I'm doing it again. Old habits die hard. Don't tell that to my new campaign manager, though. Just kidding. Or am I?
If you like that, make sure to
Shout out to Danny Jokes on X for that one. That one is hilarious. Now back to the Mel Gibson for governor of California scenario. Let's jump in.
His house in these wildfires. And what you just saw there was an effort to recall the governor and Mayor Bass. Does his star power in this matter?
It matters in the sense we're playing it now on national television on a highly rated Fox and Friends First show, and that has gone viral on social media. And meanwhile, the same day that Mel Gibson says what he says there, and he's correct on so many things as far as the management of wildfires, Gavin Newsom's approval on the handling of the wildfires is only 30%.
Wow.
Gavin Newsom announced that he has a podcast that he's about to launch. When you have a finely tuned machine like California is right now, where you have the highest poverty rate in the country, highest taxes in the country, you have 10 cities that have their own zip codes, and you have fire hydrants and reservoirs that don't have water in it, this is justified. And Gavin Newsom, remember, just last year we were talking about, will he be the Democratic nominee? Then you ask Californians. 7 in 10 Californians right now say that Gavin Newsom should not run for president, like ever, based on the way that he runs the state. So, look, in the end, this is a governor who loves two things. He loves mirrors, right? And he loves the sound of his own voice. So that's why he's launching this podcast. And nobody in California likes the job he's doing right now, starting with Mel Gibson, who I like the beard. I didn't see that coming.
Scruffy look.
Yeah.
I wonder how Newsom can even fathom a presidential run at this point.
Yeah.
But I want to turn this around, and I want to ask you an out-of-the-box question. We just saw Mel Gibson there.
Yeah.
It is not outside the realm of possibilities in the state of California for a famous actor to then run for governor.
Wow.
We've seen it a couple times, most notably with President Ronald Reagan and then Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Could you
And
see
Trump.
this happening? Because I watched that clip and I said, yes, was it perfectly delivered? No, but it had gubernatorial overtones. Your thoughts?
That's a great question. And you're right. The precedent is there in California. People like the celebrity aspect of it. And in a sense, Gavin Newsom acts like a celebrity at times. So,
A loser one.
Governor Mel Gibson. Sure.
Could happen.
Why not? Why not?
Maybe it hadn't even crossed his mind yet, but now, Todd, that you said it,
I speak directly to you,
people do call you the kingmaker.
I mean, they always have.
Governor Gibson. Gibson has been on this media spree, sharing his dislike for the way that California has been ran. Reasonably so. Karen Bass leaves the state. She's out in Ghana. And Gavin Newsom, he just cares about himself.
Place to put a roof over their heads, and kids, and they're traumatized. Someone should answer for it, but we'll see. I think we know who the culprits are, but I don't know. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel.
Is Gibson going to make a run for California governor? I don't know. And he just might win. Seriously, he just might win. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Drop your comments, smash the like button on your way out, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.